highlights from the 2019 National Association of Broadcasters show and the 2019 Travel Video Awards hosted by Citizine. I'm Chris, this is Yellow Productions. I do travel guides that are fun, informative, and entertaining. This is a live stream. If this is your first time part of one of my live streams, definitely let me know what you're thinking, ask questions, leave comments, and definitely feel free to respond to other people's comments, because one of the things I love about this community is learning from all of you and when all of you learn from each other. So in this video, I'm going to be sharing my thoughts on the 2019 NAB show. It was my first time attending NAB. It's held every year in Las Vegas, and it is a massive show. I was amazed by how many people were there. 90,000 people come out to the National Association of Broadcasters show. There's over 1,600 exhibitors. It is quite impressive. And at NAB, in its second year, was the Travel Video Awards. And as part of the Travel Video Awards, I was asked to speak on a panel about the travel film industry, talking about how to break into the travel film industry from a filmmaker or creator perspective. So what I'm going to be doing in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you some thoughts about the National Association of Broadcasters show. There were two panels there. There was a panel by us, the YouTubers. There was also a panel by people in the travel video industry, the head of Marriott Studios, someone from Tourism Australia, and a couple of heads of other travel studios that just make travel content professionally. And so what I was going to do was also share some thoughts and highlights from those panels, and then at the end, as usual, I will take questions. Happy to take questions about NAB, about the panels, or at the end, happy to take any questions about Las Vegas as well, since this show was in Las Vegas. But first, I do want to mention, if you want to tune into next live stream, my next live stream will be in 2 weeks, and it'll be on my new channel called The Office Survival Guide. So if you want to check that out, you'll find a link in the description, my first thing in the comments. It's also a pinned comment once this video is not live anymore. Head over there, subscribe so you don't miss the next live stream and you don't miss all the content that'll be activated on April 29th. All right, so let me talk a little bit about the NAB show itself. And so I took a bunch of pictures. I didn't do any video, and so we're gonna go ahead and show some of these pictures, and we'll start with the first one. All right, so National Association of Broadcasters right there, big conference, and it's about broadcasters. So this isn't really like a YouTube conference. It's about people who do broadcast television, film, audio, lights. I was amazed at the type of things that were here, and this was where they had like their keynote presentation. As you could imagine at a National Association of Broadcasters show, everything was very professional when it came to audio and video. And so there was a question from John Kleekan. He asked, where did I stay? I stayed right here. I stayed at the Westin Las Vegas. It's right on Flamingo, right behind the Flamingo Hotel. Pretty decent hotel. That was the view from my room, the Westin Las Vegas. It's just basically like 1 block off the Strip. Actually a pretty decent place to stay because you're not on the Strip. It doesn't have a big casino. But yet it's in walking distance to the Strip. Also right next to the monorail, so I could take that I could just take the monorail to the convention center, so that was convenient. The first night I was there, since I had a little bit of time, I filmed I filmed a video titled the 30 Common Tourist Mistakes in Las Vegas. That's why I've kind of got this look. That video will be out this Friday. Many of you provided inputs to that, and so for all of you who provided inputs to that video, I think I got over 100 comments about what mistakes you all have made, so a lot of them made it into that video, so thank you very much. Be on the lookout for that this Friday, 7 a.m., the time I post all of my Yellow Productions videos on Friday. So, first thing going to NAB, and I was more than just an attendee, and here's the badge right here. It was actually kind of cool to attend as a speaker, and I got this little fancy speaker button right there. And of course my badge said a lot of different things than a lot of other people. Many people's badges might say that they worked for ABC or CBS or lots of professional broadcasting things, and of course mine was creator for Yellow Productions. So this is like the show floor. I mentioned 90,000 attendees, 1,600 exhibitors. It takes up the entire Las Vegas Convention Center. And if you've never been to the Las Vegas Convention Center before, it is a huge convention center. It's massive, multiple stories, multiple buildings, and I could not explore the whole thing. So I hope to go back next year to actually see the rest of the floor. I was only there for one day, so I wasn't able to see the whole thing. But definitely, I had camera envy while they were there. Like, the cameras that were there were, like, way impressive. And what was interesting about the cameras, yet definitely bigger cameras than mine right there, like a lot of these cameras for production studios. But they would also set up things that the cameras would shoot. So this is a booth that's showing off their pan, tilt, zoom cameras, and they've got, like, these little artifacts, toys, things like that. So you could see basically what the camera sees and how it zooms in on it. But they did more than just still lifes. JVC right here, if you look closely at this picture, and I'm going to zoom in, what they've got is they've got all their new cameras that are set up there, and then they've got some actresses that they've hired to basically do something in the middle of the cameras so you can see how that camera looks when it shoots people. And so here's a video about 15 seconds of what that booth looked like. And so these girls, they were basically hula hooping. So they were paid to be here for 5 days or so and hula hoop so that people could take a look at the cameras and see what that looks like. I never comprehended, frankly, that something like that could exist. And so it was so interesting. Also, a lot of the big brands that I use to make these shows or use to make my travel videos were there. One of them is DUD microphones, and the microphone that you can't see because it's right above my head, it's actually a DUD microphone, and I love that their booth was yellow, so that was fantastic. If you ever wanted to get like a boom on top of your car so you could shoot like car scenes of people driving and things like that, you could buy that in NAB. If you needed a gimbal for your camera, this booth sold tons of gimbals in every shape and size for steady footage. The Sony booth was probably the biggest booth at NAB. It was quite impressive, and they had even more actors with like really impressive stages set up, and you can see there's all the cameras and then displays up there to show what the cameras look like. Sony had all of their lenses on display, all of their new cameras, all of their old cameras. Of course, my favorite company for buying stuff was their B&H Photo Video. If you're ever wondering where I buy most of my photo and video gear, it's from B&H. If you wanted to buy a news truck, you could buy a news truck. There were a number of companies that sold and produced news trucks. Or maybe you don't want a news truck, maybe you want a really tricked out bicycle. This bicycle had lights on it and all these gizmos and gadgets, so you could put like GoPros and cameras and microphones. That's interesting what people will think of. Also, of the things I wouldn't think would be at like a National Association of Broadcasters show, but I guess it makes sense. NHK, which is a Japanese television station, they were there. One of the big trends this year was 8K. So I publish all of my videos in 4K. My cameras are all 4K. 8K, that's the next thing coming down the pike. They had these 8K TVs. They were amazing. When you looked at the 8K content, you're just like, oh, people's faces. I don't know if they looked good or bad because you could really see everything, but it was really super crisp. This was the Canon booth. Canon also had actors set up. This particular booth, this guy was actually a tailor, and related to this tailor, here I'll show you what he looked like. Let's get rid of this thing. And there we go. You can see the cameras at the bottom, the screens up at the top, and this guy, he was just there, 8 hours a day sewing. They had this impressive set up so you could see this guy sewing, and you could see how these cameras looked if you were to buy one, which is kind of neat because you could look at the cameras side by side and see what they looked like. All right, so that's kind of a general description of NAB. I'm going to go to some questions and comments, and then I'll talk to you about what some of the panels were. So in the comments, let's see. Ali said this is his first time live, they'll watch previous streams after they've aired. Welcome, Ali or Ollie. By the way, if this is your first time on the live stream, I'd definitely love to give you a shout out. So drop me a hashtag first live stream in the comments and I'll give you a shout out. Definitely want to thank all of our first time viewers. Brandon commented and said, didn't take any videos in a broadcasting show. Yeah, I just, I felt with my little camera and this and that, it just seemed a little small, not that impressive. Those couple shots you saw, I shot with my cell phone. Let's see. Supa asked if I felt famous. It was pretty neat to be on the panel. There were like 200 people on the panel. I'll also say when I was shooting my mistakes about Vegas video on the Strip the night before, I probably got stopped by 20 or 30 people on the Strip. It was pretty impressive. And I want to thank all those people that stopped me to take selfies. There were actually times when I was taking a selfie with one person, and then there'd be another person in line to take a selfie. John mentioned he just subscribed to my other channel. Thank you, John. I look forward to seeing you over there. If you guys haven't subscribed to that yet, you'll find the link in the comments or the description. That's where I'll be doing my live stream in 2 weeks. Chinmay asks if the convention center is where the Riviera used to be. No, the Riviera is just kind of torn down. The convention center is back next to where the Hilton used to be. It's now called the Westgate is the hotel that's next to it. Tara asks, what is the other channel about? The other channel is called The Office Survival Guide. I'm going to run a trailer at the end of this live stream so you'll see more. But it's all about how to not just survive your week in the office, but to end your work week feeling like you've crushed it. My goal is to give you the skills to be really good at the office. Why about the office? Well, because, I do a travel channel, but in order to make these videos and a lot of these things, actually I have a full-time office job to help support my expensive travel habit, and I figure a lot of you do, and so I wanted to talk about just how to be better, how to do better, how to get your work done more quickly so that you've got more time and hopefully more money to go on travel. So that's what that channel is going to be about. Mr. Tech Paris says he's always wanted a news truck. That is awesome. I've probably too. And Tara, she is a first-timer. So welcome, Tara. All right, and Daniel asks if I'm streaming in 4K. I am not streaming this in 4K. I'm streaming this in 1080p. Streaming in 4K, that takes a lot of bandwidth. So this is 1080p at 6 megabits a second if you're an Uber geek and wanted to know what those details are. All right, so let me go on to talking about the panel, and I need to skip ahead a few pictures here. Sorry for those flashes. All right, so here's the panel. There were 2 panels. The first panel was about the travel video industry and particularly the buyers and the financiers. And then the second panel was how to build your brand as a filmmaker and influencer. And if you can read this really small text, that's the one I was on. So I'm briefly going to talk about the buyers and financiers panel, and then I'll talk about the how to build your brand as a filmmaker and influencer. So on the brand one, not the brand, on the buyers and financiers ones, they were talking about their investment in travel videos, the investment the tourism industry makes in travel videos, what media companies invest in, lifestyle brands, and more. And then the type of content that's being produced and how these buyers are hiring and developing the talent to develop their projects. Tourism Australia, Marriott International, Myriad, which is a destination marketing agency, and a studio from London called Black Tomato Studio, which is a luxury travel operator. They have their own essentially film studio to make content to inspire people to go on trips. And so what I actually thought was most interesting about this panel was particularly a discussion from Marriott, where Marriott, they've got their own in-house studio, and when they talk about the type of films that Marriott makes, their goal is not with their videos directly to put heads in beds, but essentially to inspire people to travel and then inspire people to have an affinity towards Marriott and become brand loyalists. So that's what a lot of these people were doing. Tourism Australia, they talked about how this year, during the Super Bowl in the US, they actually launched a set of travel videos for Australia in the Super Bowl related to advertising the next Crocodile Dundee movie. That's right, because that's what us Americans know about Australia. But something that I learned at this conference that I wasn't aware of, and I've been to Australia a couple of times, was about the quokka. Are any of you familiar with the quokka? The quokka is apparently making the rounds on the internet as like the world's happiest animal. It's this animal that only lives in like a couple of places in Australia, and people go there to take selfies with the quokka, and the quokka is quickly becoming Australia's like next reason that you need to go to Australia. SP RDVX asks, are you looking to become a full-time Are you looking to become a full-time YouTuber one day if you can? I'd say, sure, that would definitely be cool, but I think that is a long way away. And so, you know, I think this is one of those to say one can only dream. But the thing about being a full-time YouTuber as opposed to having a job is like things that come with having a job are like benefits and insurance and all those sorts of things that being a full-time YouTuber doesn't. And being a full-time YouTuber is also, there's the ebbs and flows of YouTube, and we can have a whole different discussion about AdSense and advertising. And, you know, I'm sure you've all heard a lot of maybe backlash from a lot of creators who are full-time YouTubers, but then YouTube does one thing to their algorithm, and then all of a sudden they make $0 from ads. So that's something that, you know, it's exciting for a lot of people. And also, I think if you poll what the generation younger than millennials, and I'm sorry I'm not into all the lingo, but young kids today, if you poll young kids today under 15, I think something like 30% of them say their goal is to become a full-time YouTuber. But one of the things, if you talk to full-time YouTubers, they'll say it's taken them a long time to get that way. I mean, there are some people who maybe, you know, like were an overnight success, but that is 1 in a million. That's not every million. SM555 asked if this was my first NAB. Yes, this was the first time I attended the NAB show. All right, so now let me talk a little bit about the, wow, it's always going to go back to that. All right, this is annoying. Sorry for this here, guys, this little flashing. All right, too far. Can I go back? Can I go back? No, it's going the wrong way. Will this go back? Oh, it doesn't go back. This is like the worst feature I've gotten here. I want to show you the picture from the panel. Sorry, we'll click through a few of these. Ah! All right, well, you know what? We're not getting a picture from the panel because I'm really tired of that. So, the panel, we were in this room. It had about 200 folks. The room was full. It was essentially standing room only or sitting room only. And I'm going to try to see if I can click over to that slide without giving you all the... No, I really... Maybe I can do it this way. Yeah, I can click through that this way without giving you all vertigo on that slide. All right, show that thing. All right, there we go. So that was the panel. That was a small picture from the panel. That's me in one of my fancy new yellow production polo shirts. I'm also wearing another new shirt today. This one's embroidered. I'm kind of trying out what all these different looks look like. Next to me or behind me in this picture is Philip Debevoise. He's the one who put on the Travel Video Awards for the last 2 years, so he's the one who was chartering the panel. You can see essentially half of the audience back there, and then the other half of the audience on the left. So that's kind of what the panel and the room looked like. Okay, so we'll make that go away. So who was on this panel? There was myself, Philip, who was chairing it, someone who goes by the name of Super Holly. Her name is Holly Tuggy. She has a YouTube channel called Super Holly. She has 2 million subscribers on YouTube and I think about 1 million followers on Instagram. And then David Freed, he was part of a company called Mel Films, and this animal called the quokka that I was talking about, he made this whole video about quokkas titled World's Happiest Animals or Happy Animal. And in the Travel Video Awards, he actually won the top award for his particular film. And it was really an impressive film, definitely kind of documentary style about all the people that come to Australia to see the quokkas. So some of the interesting questions on this panel So somebody asked, how do you plan your videos? That's a great question. And so I'll tell you kind of the questions and I'll give you some of the answers that I gave. So how do you plan your videos? Well, when I go on travel, I generally do a lot of research beforehand and I write stuff up. This is a script that I'm doing for this live stream about my notes from it, but I've generally got things like that for all the destinations that I go to. I think about essentially all the videos that I want to make before I've gone to a destination. I try to look on YouTube about what other people have made and what people haven't made. My goal is not to reproduce things that other people have done, but my goal is to produce new content that other people haven't seen. Then I'll write that stuff up into Google Docs. Any significant destinations I want to go to, I put in Google Maps and I put like as a little star or a heart on Google Maps. And so then that way, as I'm around the city and I'm near something, then I can be like, oh, I need to go there and I need to shoot this video. Though I will say it sometimes can get kind of confusing if I'm on one trip, say I'm in London and I'm shooting 5 different videos, things to know, cheap eats, how to ride the subway, and they all intermingle because I shot one bit of this here, one bit of this there, the next one after there, but that's just something it's easier to keep straight when I have them all written out. SPR VDX says, seems like a lot of people who are full-time YouTubers get by on Patreon these days. Yeah, and I think there are a lot of people who do, and I'll be honest, I haven't wanted to put out the tip jar yet, so that's why you don't see any Patreons from me. Village Idiot says, I finally caught you live. Yay. Thank you, Village Idiot, and welcome to your first time on the live stream. Julian asked where I got Topher. That's a great question, Julian. I've got the longer answer in my frequently asked questions video, but in the frequently asked questions video, I say that I got Topher from the San Diego Zoo back in about 2004. So Topher is about 15 years old. All right, the second kind of big question that we got on the how to break into the travel film industry panel was, when you go on a trip and you're shooting video, how do you decide what is personal and what to share? And so somebody was saying when he goes on travel, he's not sure how much he should record, how much he should share, what is his personal stuff. And I kind of remarked and said, I shoot way more content than I actually end up editing and putting on YouTube. And I think my problem is not being able to shoot things. My problem is being able to edit it, because it takes more time, I find, to edit the videos and make them sharp and polished than it does to shoot them. But at the same time, there are times and days, like if it's the first day I got to a destination, where I'm just like, camera's not coming out today because I'm exhausted, I'm jet lagged, and if you were looking at me and I had the camera on, my eyes would not be open, they'd be more like this. And you know what, that's not a video that anybody wants to watch. That only shows up when I do maybe some of like the 7-day quick vlogs on a destination, but there are a lot of things that just, it's not appropriate to film or it's not appropriate to shoot. And actually a lot of people at NAB that I saw were asking if I was going to do a video while I was there, and so I ended up doing it this way with kind of the slideshow and this after action, because actually when I was there I kind of just wanted to like enjoy the conference in the moment, if that makes sense. The kind of third question that we got was from someone who wanted to break in the travel videos, and they wanted to know what equipment to buy. And so my advice to what equipment to buy was probably interesting, that I said, okay, well, assuming you have some sort of device to record things on, whether it's a camcorder, a GoPro, an iPhone, the first thing you should buy after that is a good microphone, because if your audio's crap, nobody will watch the video, right? And if you notice a lot of my videos, I've always got a wireless microphone on, because if you're more than like 3 or 4 feet from the camera, if you don't have a wireless mic, it will just sound completely awful. And then I also recommend people invest in a tripod, because if it's a little steadier, then it looks good. Now, I'm sort of interesting on this, and I'll probably make another video on this topic later, but I really like a camcorder when I shoot videos, because I like to be able to see myself on the flip out screen. I like that it can just turn on instantly. I like that the wireless mic that I use is directly attached to it, so I am a fan of the camcorder. So the next question after like what equipment to buy, was somebody was asking like how to break into certain markets, and it's sort of an interesting question, and this kind of has this perspective about like if you've never been on YouTube, all you need to do is figure out how to break in, how to title your videos correctly, how to make the right thumbnails, and all of a sudden you'll be an overnight success. And I'll say that there's a lot of you who've come to subscribe to Yellow Productions in the last year or 2 years, and I really appreciate it. It's amazing. I love having you all here. I love having you all on the live streams. I love chatting with you all. But it's very easy to look and say, oh, Yellow Productions was an overnight success from the last 2 years, except I actually started YouTube in 2008, and this is about my 750th video. So, you know, what I always say to people who say, how do I break in, is I say, just start making videos. What do they have to be about? Whatever. Just make some videos. And frankly, if you go back and look at some of my really early videos, they are not the world's best videos, but they were good for me because they were helping me get started. And even if you go back and watch these live streams, my first live stream, I would say wasn't very good. I didn't really have good lighting, I didn't have good audio, I didn't stream at a good resolution, and it's all through this sort of trial and error that these things actually become better and become more watchable, and then more people want to watch it, and more people subscribe, and more people talk about it, and it's kind of fantastic. Electric Rick, for those of you who don't know, is my dad. And Electric Rick says, I would like to see more video of the video bicycle. It looks like a fun ride. I bet it would be, putting like a whole bunch of cameras on that and riding down the Mission Beach boardwalk. That'd be pretty fun. Yoko S says, I love your 360-degree videos. Thank you, Yoko S. I'm curious, which one's your favorite and why do you love them? That'll help me make more that you like. Kevin says, I found your channel about 2 weeks ago. I've watched about 45 videos since. I really like your content and delivery. Thank you. Great channel. Well, Kevin, thank you very much. That's an awesome number of videos. Thanks for joining, and thanks for joining in the live stream. One of the things on this panel when I was talking about like what my spin is or what my angle is, and you've all heard me say it. I say I make travel guides that are fun, informative, and entertaining, but more than that, I talk about when I got started. OC Girl, my wife and I, we were doing a lot of travel to Asia, to Japan, and we would get asked a lot of questions in Japan, not in Japan, we'd get asked questions when we came back from Japan about, well, Chris, hey, you've been to Tokyo. I'm going to Tokyo. Where should I stay? Or how hard was it to ride the subway? How did you ride the subway? Where did you get yen? What did you do with your cell phone? Do I need to get a JR pass? And so we kind of quickly realized that like the family type videos we were producing, like vlog style, were not nearly as interesting or needed as the much more informational type videos. So I think where my videos differ from a lot of the ones, and particularly the ones in the Travel Video Awards, and there were some really impressive videos in the Travel Video Awards that were like fantastically edited and shot and cinematic, and yeah, that's just not me. I'm never gonna win the award for best cinematography, but I do hope to be the most informative video on a certain place where you can get into my video and hopefully in the shortest time possible get all the information you need to actually go to that destination so that you can ultimately save money and have a better time because you're not trying to or you're not making mistakes that other people have made that they wish they hadn't, right? So that's when I make a video and it's things to know about Tokyo, you know, I'm making that towards the end of my trip in Tokyo to basically say, hey, these are all the things I learned when I was here that I wished I knew like the minute that I landed in Tokyo. Daniel has asked, has any company ever wanted to sponsor you? That's a great question. And Daniel, since your little icon is green, and I think that's the one because you don't have a picture, I'm gonna drink now. There's always a conversation about, hey, what am I drinking? Today I am drinking this matcha milk tea. Matcha, it's a Japanese green tea by Ito En Matcha Green Tea, and I buy this from a supermarket called Mitsuwa. They always put like this little paid sticker on it. Very Japanese to put a paid sticker on it. It's a pretty good green tea drink. You can see it's green in color. I've done a few sponsored videos. I wouldn't say there's been a lot, but certainly a handful of sponsored videos. And I'd certainly be open to other ones. But there was actually a question about this, which the question was how to decide which brand deals to pursue. So I would say I probably get at least an email a day, if not more, from people who send emails to my business address that's on YouTube. And the emails usually go something like this. Hi, my name is blank. I sell snorkels on Amazon, and I was wondering if you would like to review my snorkel. You can go buy my snorkel on Amazon. It is $16.99. And I'll ship the snorkel to you. And after you've reviewed the snorkel, then I will send you an Amazon gift card for the same amount that you paid. Now, it might be oddly specific that I say a snorkel, but one of my most popular review videos has been on a snorkel. It was not a sponsored video. It was a video of the Triboard snorkel mask, which is this full-face snorkel mask from Europe. And it's gotten a fair number of views, but apparently every snorkel vendor must go to YouTube and search for snorkel review and then think that I want to review their snorkels. I get offered to review, how do I say this, like weird luggage, like packing cubes and soap bottles, and honestly, I ignore most of those things. The ones that seem slightly promising, I ask them, why me? Like, what about my channel were you interested in? And if they can't answer that question, then it's also not a good fit. There have also been some products that I've offered to review, but I said, like, hey, you got to send it to me first, and if I like it, I'll make a video on it. But if it's awful, I'm not going to waste all of your time by making a review for an awful product. I only want to recommend things to you that I would recommend to my best friend or to my next door neighbor. So anything that you hear that I recommend, is actually from the heart and not because, somebody paid me off, right? I think that would just make me atrophy inside if I was doing that. So Julian says, have you done the bungee jump at the Stratosphere yet? You should make a video on that too. I have not done the bungee jump at the Stratosphere. I would describe myself as a fairly risk-averse and injury-averse person that also has not the world's best back. So I probably will not be doing that. About as adventuresome as I've gotten on adventure-type things is in Singapore, I rode the zip line at Sentosa Island because, well, I figure if you're going to ride a zip line anywhere, Singapore is a pretty progressive country that's pretty kind of militant with their regulations, and so I figured it would probably be fairly safe in Singapore. And hey, I didn't fall down because I'm still here today. Mandy Mofat asked your favorite vacation spot. Vacation? If we think like vacation, beach vacation, probably Hawaii, probably Maui. My favorite hotel in the world is the Andaz in Maui that I have a video review on that isn't sponsored. It really is my favorite. The country we go to the most is Japan. Enzo asked, where's Topher? Topher is, he's resting up for his next adventure. He's been tired today. Julian wants me to review a Moxie hotel by Marriott. If I'm near one and I stay there, I totally will. Ali asks if I've ever been to the Grand Canyon or Sedona. No to both. Not the Grand Canyon, not Sedona. I've been to Phoenix. I've been to Scottsdale. We recently went to Zion, but we've not been to Sedona. Chinmay just subscribed to the Office Survival Guide channel. He's the 15th subscriber. Thank you very much, Chinmay. If you guys haven't subscribed to the Office Survival Guide, you'll find a link in the description, in the comment, up at the top of this comment. That's where I'm going to be doing the live stream in 2 weeks, so make sure you subscribe to that if you haven't. This is Emma's first time on the live stream. Welcome, Emma. Thanks for joining in. Which city would you like to visit? I guess this might be which city that I haven't been to that I'd like to visit. One of the things we've been talking about that we think would be pretty cool would be visiting Mexico City for the Dia de los Muertos celebration, which is like the Day of the Dead celebration. That'd be pretty neat. Mr. Tekpera says, as a French guy who lived in Japan and now in LA, my videos are very accurate. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Tekpera. I appreciate that. Brandon asks, what are my top 5 Japanese drinks, by the way? That's a good question. Mm. And if by that you mean like bottled drinks that you can buy in bottles like this, it's one of those where it's like, it's hard for me to remember the name of all of them, but I remember what the bottles look like. There's like a jasmine tea that I like and a royal milk tea that I like. I also like this thing called like CC lemon, but generally kind of the tea things. I'm kind of a teetotaler, so I like a lot of tea. Julian, he is LMAO, and he says, Chris, I stayed at the Hooters Hotel in Vegas, and it was so bad. There were people smoking weed everywhere in the hotel, and also the housekeeping only did one bed out of the two. So, by the way, if any of you have not seen my 5 worst cheap hotels in Las Vegas video, which is my most popular video ever, it's creeping up to 2 million views. One of the worst hotels in Las Vegas, on the Las Vegas Strip, is the Hooters Hotel. And a lot of people say, like, Hooters Hotel isn't technically on the Strip because it's like one hotel off the Strip. Whatever, it's pretty close, and it's not that good. Ali asks, does filming ever interfere with your vacation? I'm gonna say no. I think OC Girl and I, we like shooting videos and we like taking photos, and but what I will say is that, like, if when people say like how much time it takes to go see a destination, for us it takes about twice as long because we're doing a lot of video and we're talking a lot. So it might interfere in the sense that we don't get to see as much, maybe as most people do, in the same amount of time that we go. But I would say if I go someplace and I don't make a video on it, then it's almost like I wasn't there, right? So it's kind of neat. Like, I make these videos for you guys, but I also make them for me because I like to, honestly, I like to go back and look at these videos too, to be like, oh, feeding the deer in Nara, Japan. Or I'm sure you all heard the very sad news today about the Notre Dame church in Paris that just caught fire. I was there in 2009 and did a video titled The Majestic Gargoyles of Notre Dame. And it's one to be like, oh, hey, I can look back on that and I can see what those gargoyles looked like that I think sadly aren't there anymore. Brandon asks, why would you ever go to a Hooters hotel? I don't know. Ali, why'd you go to a Hooters hotel? That was Julian. That was Julian. And Julian said, because it was the only hotel with available rooms, which probably tells you something about that. I love my EQ's joined in and has asked, how's it going? It's going great. Thanks. I love my EQ. Ricky has joined in. By the way, Ricky holds the record for the most amount of Yellow Productions t-shirts won in these live streams. There will definitely be a giveaway more towards the end of this live stream. I don't know, Ricky might just win one again. He's been doing pretty good. And Chinmay would not recommend the Hooters Hotel to his worst enemy. All right, so let me go to a couple more questions that people asked on this panel. Another one was somebody asked how to beat the algorithm. How do you beat the YouTube algorithm? And that's a great question. And I think that this is something that people say where they're like, look, my content is really great, but the problem is people just aren't, people aren't watching it because YouTube's not recommending it to people. And I'll say that I feel like the videos of mine that get a lot of views are videos that people like to watch, and the videos probably that don't get a lot of views are the videos that just maybe aren't that good. I mean, there is something to be said a little bit for titling and thumbnails, but I find, at least for me, on some of those videos, and maybe like my London series, like maybe the thumbnails aren't the world's best, and maybe my titles aren't like catchy BuzzFeed titles, and so maybe they don't do amazing right away, but YouTube realizes that people watch them, and then that just kind of creeps up as YouTube recommends it to more people, and more people watch it. And so actually the golden ticket on YouTube is watch percentage. So that's like what percentage people make it through the video. And so people always ask, well, Chris, like how could I help you, or things like that. And I always say, the number one way you can help me is just by being here, just by watching my videos. Watch my videos, share them with your friends watch the videos. Honestly, that's YouTube's biggest signal towards a channel or a video being good. So I thank you all very much. Top Shelf asks, will my Apple Pay work in Japan? I am not sure if your Apple Pay will work in Japan because I've never used Apple Pay in Japan. Julian asks if I've ever been anywhere in Montana. It looks really nice. I want to go this summer. I've never been to Montana. I've never been anywhere in Montana. I've never even driven through Montana. That's a state I have not been to. Brandon says, the YouTube algorithm, it's a never-ending game. It is, which is why I would say, just don't play the game. Just make videos that you like. That's what I try to do. Obviously, not just videos I like. I like to ask you all, and people give me ideas and say, like, Chris, make more Las Vegas videos. And I'm not making Las Vegas videos to, like, beat the algorithm. I'm making more Las Vegas videos because you all have said, Chris, I love your Las Vegas videos. So that's why those get made. Stevie Z says, you're all over my feed. Rad. Well, thank you much, Stevie Z. So an interesting thing about that, and so then after the panels were done at NAB, then there was the Travel Video Awards. So this was kind of a early evening thing. There were 800 videos submitted to the Travel Video Awards. They had a few different categories. They had categories like the best Wanderlust video, the best series, the best hosted video, the best video by a travel brand. And I will say the videos that won in these were like really impressive videos. I was a semi-finalist in a couple of the different categories, but the one I mentioned earlier by David Freed titled Happy Animals about the quokka in Australia was really impressive. There was this other one by, I think Brandon Lee's his name, called Seoul_Wave about Seoul in Korea. If you want to watch that later, it's a really impressive video, and his videography is way more advanced than anything I could do. He also spent a month in Seoul and basically spent his entire month making this video. And I go to Seoul for a week and probably make 10 videos. But so, just definitely different style. But it was amazing to meet all of these different filmmakers, talk about their approaches and learn from them. And actually, I met somebody who makes travel videos for PBS, the public broadcasting in the U.S., and he lives in San Diego, and a lot of you know San Diego's my hometown. And he said a lot of people would tell him, hey, you live in San Diego, you must know the yellow shirt guy. And apparently he had no idea who they were talking about until he came to the panel I was on, and he's like, it's the yellow shirt guy, oh my gosh. So anyway, it's kind of funny, it's a small world, and so anytime, apparently I was not all over his feed, but apparently I was all over his friends' feeds. Mr. Tekpera asks if I bought any Aerosmith tickets for my next Vegas trip. I did not for that trip because I was there for like a day and a half. I Love My EQ asks, what's the prize today? It's going to be a pair of socks today. That's what it's going to be. All right. The fancy Yellow Productions socks. Vinny says, I'm going to Colorado next summer. Any suggestion on places to visit? Also going to Washington State a week later. Yeah, sure. I think in the summer, I think it's cool to visit Colorado Springs. And in particular, in Colorado Springs, there's a town called Manitou Springs. Actually, all of the bubbling springs in Colorado Springs are in this town called Manitou Springs. And that's also the gateway to Pikes Peak, which is one of the tallest mountains in the U.S. You can take the train up there, which is pretty fun. Okay, so what I want to do now is I want to share with you guys again this new channel that I'm going to be launching. I'll talk a little bit about it. I'll roll my trailer. Encourage you to subscribe if you haven't. After that trailer's done, then we'll do the contest. I'll take any final questions, and then it'll be 9 o'clock, and then we'll be done. So this new channel that I'll be launching, it's called the Office Survival Guide. I talked a little bit about it earlier, but you know, a lot of you have office jobs or some kind of job where you're dealing with people. And so this channel is going to be all about helping you get better skills to work in the office, deal better with people, you know, not just survive the office week, but to end the week feeling like you've crushed it. And so why am I creating this as a separate channel? Well, actually one of the things about YouTube that YouTube maybe likes or doesn't like is they sort of like people on a channel to almost watch every video on the channel. And if I started publishing a lot of videos about, I feel like, office topics on this channel, some of you would watch them, but others of you wouldn't. And for those of you that wouldn't, then the videos would just not be popular. So that's why it's a new channel. It's a new channel just dedicated to office stuff. So if you want to watch that, please subscribe to the channel. Links in the description or in the pinned comment on this video. And my next live stream in 2 weeks is going to be over on the Office Survival Guide. It will not be here on Yellow Productions. So if you want to catch the next live stream, make sure you subscribe and click the bell for notifications. So I'll roll the trailer for that, which is 90 seconds, and then I'll be right back with you. Welcome to the Office Survival Guide channel. I'm Chris, and on this channel, we do fun, informative, entertaining videos to help you navigate the office life, to take you from feeling like you've just survived a work week to feeling like you've crushed it. Our goal here is to give you the skills you need to be awesome in the office. If you work in an office job, this channel is for you. Whether you work in human resources, sales, marketing, you're an intern, you're a manager, or even if you're an engineer who already knows everything, yes, I guarantee you'll find something useful on this channel. That is, unless you have a job where you don't work with people and you only work with dogs and trees. If that's the case, I want to know where you work because I'm interested in your job. But if that's you, then you can click off this channel because this is all about working with people in an office setting. Oh, and by the way, if this is your first time here, but I look kind of familiar to you, I also have a travel channel on YouTube called Yellow Productions Travel Guides, where I travel the world and do videos about it. But on that channel, people often ask me, Chris, how can you afford traveling so much? And I usually give answers about credit cards and miles and points, but the real reason I can afford it, frankly, I have a full-time office job that helps support my expensive travel habit. On that channel, I travel with Topher, my traveling panda, but on this channel, I'm going to be joined by Columbus. I'm Chris, he's Columbus. Together we make Christopher Columbus, and we'll be helping you navigate the office life. So definitely hit that subscribe button for new videos on a regular basis and check out some of the tip videos we've got on offer. All right, so there you go. So if you haven't subscribed, do that now. Do that when you're done. Chinmay says, I'm definitely going to watch both. Excellent, Chinmay. Thank you for that. I love my EQ. Asks if I'm going to divide my time 50-50 for each channel, or what are your thoughts? I'm probably still going to spend more time, at least at the beginning, on Yellow Productions, the travel channel. I've already shot 5 videos for the Office Survival Guide, so when the channel launches on April 29th in 2 weeks, I'm basically going to activate all of those videos right after the live stream that I do, so you'll have plenty of content to look at and decide if you continue to like it, and we'll see. If it gets traction, then I'll do more. Right? It's kind of how that works. Cool Guy Forever asks, what is your favorite place to go? My favorite place to go is Japan. I probably go to Japan the most of any place. I also enjoy Singapore as well. Yoko S says, wow. I hope that's about that trailer. So, wow, definitely join me. Julian asks, should I stay at the Luxor? If I stay at the Luxor, should I stay in the tower or the pyramid? I don't know. You know, different people say different things. I think you should stay in the pyramid because it's kind of like unique. Like, how often do you get to stay in a pyramid room with like an inclinator? Though a lot of people say the pyramid is tired and the tower rooms are nicer, but I feel like either way they're pretty inexpensive. So I would stay in the pyramid. Calv 1983 says, I just got back from Vegas. It was awesome, and I used a lot of your tips. Thanks again. Thank you, Calv. I appreciate it. Ricky asks, how did you decide on creating a work channel? That's a great question. And it's actually something I'll probably talk more about when I kick off the launch of the new channel. But one of the things, and one of the people who is like an inspiration for this new channel is Dave Ramsey. If you're not familiar with Dave Ramsey, he's like the 3rd most popular radio talk show host in the US. It's like Rush Limbaugh, Hannity and Combs, and Dave Ramsey. He's got a show all about money. He has these books called Leadership, where he talks about being entrepreneurs and he talks about being leaders. And I feel like if you look at the material that's designed for businesses in the office, like all the books and all the material is designed for managers, leaders, business people, people that want to start their own company. But I feel like there's a void of information for people who are just employees and who work at a company. And so my goal is not to only talk to people who want to start their own company or lead teams, but my goal is to talk to any of you who frankly just work someplace. And these tips will be useful if you're a leader or manager too, but something that will be accessible to anybody that has an office job. Because I feel like there's also a lot of little things, just like travel, that if you learn them over the years, make your travel experience better. I feel like there's a lot of things about working in an office or working in an environment where you deal with people that if you just learned a few of these things or you were taught a few of these things, it would make your life all that much easier. And they're not taught in school. And frankly, workplaces don't teach them either, and so that's why I'm going to talk about them here, and that's why I'm starting that channel. Let's see. Cool Guy Forever asked, when's your next video in your 2 channel? The first video on my 2nd channel will be April 29th, so it'll be 2 weeks from today. 5 videos will be active right at that point, along with the live stream. Dustin says, thanks for all your videos. Just took a trip to Japan, and your videos were super helpful. Thanks, Dustin. Drew on the Luxor said the tower. A lot of other people said the tower. Goddess says, I like Topher better. Columbus has a negative connotation. What is the negative connotation by Columbus? I'm curious. The reason why we picked Columbus for his name was, I'm Chris, he's Topher, he's Columbus. Together we make Christopher Columbus, which are some world explorers. So there we go. Calv wants me to say happy birthday to Natalie. Happy birthday, Natalie. Kevin says, I'm heading to Oahu this summer, Waikiki specifically, and wondered if you had any tips for parking other than $50 a day at the hotels. Yeah, Waikiki parking is really expensive. I don't really have any cheap parking tips because I feel like there aren't a lot of other parking garages except for the ones in the hotels. I think you could take a look on a place maybe like parkingpanda.com, and you could see if you could book some longer term parking for cheaper. Sometimes they'll have negotiated less expensive rates. Drew asks if I've ever slipped a $20 at check-in to get an upgrade. I have never done that. Nathan says, love your videos. Keep up the good work. Going to Japan. Any advice? A lot of advice in my over 100 videos. I'm curious, do you have like an angle that you'd like me to answer? General advice, though, I have a whole video about 10 things to know before you go to Japan. If you have not seen that, go check it out. Brandon says, are you going to upload the Office Survival Guides at the same time as your Yellow Productions videos? So my main Yellow Productions videos, I do the main video every Friday at 7 a.m. And then I kind of intersperse them. Like Mondays, I'll do a live stream. If I'm not doing a live stream, I'll upload something else. And if I've got like a third video, I typically slip that in on Wednesday. I think Office Survival Guides, I'll probably try to stick in like Tuesday or Thursday, somewhere like in the middle of that thing. And I'm definitely not going to start that with like 3 videos a week because I think I'd fall over and die if I was trying to make that much. But that might be once a week or once every 2 weeks, something like that. So more as that kind of develops. All right. So now let's pick the winner for the socks. So or let's pick the winner, not pick the winner. What is the contest for giving away the socks? I always give away something in one of these live streams, and today it's a pair of socks. And so earlier in this live stream, I said how many people are exhibitors at the NAB show in Las Vegas. How many exhibitors come to the NAB show in Las Vegas? The person who gives the right answer or the closest answer to that question wins a pair of Yellow Productions socks shipped to them anywhere in the world and any size of their choosing. These are very nice socks. They've got some white tops and black bottoms. You know, people often ask me, how do they get this merchandise? And I say, you know what? You gotta win it. That's how it works. My goal isn't really to make money off selling this merchandise. It's to make it special. I Love My EQ says there's 5 exhibitors. Yeah, that number's too small. Tony says there's 19 exhibitors. That number's too small. Exhibitors. This is how many people have like booths, not how many people attend. How many people exhibit and have booths at NAB Show. I mentioned this number twice. I realize it's hard to pick numbers. So we got a lot of numbers coming through. So we'll just keep you guys going on those numbers as I drink another one of my matcha green teas. Nobody's got the right number yet, by the way. So Daniel is getting close. Daniel said 1,500. Jake McShane said it's 5 million. 5 million. It's too big. Yeah, that's a. I love 5 million as the number. It's very accurate, and that's like, oh, it's like 5,604,000.3. It's very interesting on the 0.3. Let's see. Yippee says it's 1. And Drew Lawson is the winner. Drew Lawson is the winner with 1,600. That is the number of exhibitors that come to the NAB show every year to show off their cameras and microphones and things like that. So Drew, congratulations. You win a pair of Yellow Productions socks shipped anywhere in the world to you. You can either send me a message on Facebook with your address, what size you want these socks, small, medium, large, extra large. And if you don't do Facebook messages, you can send me an email. My email is chris@yellow.net with 2 W's, YELLOW.net. It's not what the socks say because I changed that name. All right, well, thank you, everybody, for joining in to this live stream. I really appreciate it. I appreciate all of you watching. As usual, I won't say goodbye because I'm going to see you in the next live stream, which is in 2 weeks on April 29th on the Office Survival Guide. Go subscribe to that, so make sure you get that next live stream. Or if you're not interested in that and you just want to watch travel videos, well, this Friday will be my next travel video, 7 a.m. Los Angeles time, about 30 common tourist mistakes in Las Vegas. So I hope to see you in one of those videos.